Yeah, yeah, I'm ready.
Hello. Hi. Welcome. It's Monday.
Hey.
It's Monday and it's Andy and Shrath on a Monday. That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. Let me just make sure that I've got my chat window up and so that I can answer any questions or see anything that's happening along the way in chat. Nice to see everyone. Nice to see you, Sinksar. Nice to see you, Sinjin. Good. Thanks for joining. And today we're starting a whole new series. I hope you got your game jams in, game jam games in. Firstly, congratulations to all of the people that finished game jam games. That was a slog, right? That was hard going. But it was amazing to see so many awesome entries. I've already played quite a few of them. And I've been just absolutely blown away. So congratulations to everyone who submitted or contributed to the games or who joined us on Feedback Friday and played a bunch of them. It was awesome. Great job, everyone. So this week I'm joined by Shrath. Hi, Shrath.
Hey.
And Shrath is going to be learning some game dev. I'm going to be doing a bit of, I guess, teaching, we can call it that, and Shrath is going to be doing some learning, and we're going to make some games together, and we're going to explore that, and we're going to be doing this for a few weeks. Shrath, have you ever made games in Crayta before?
Not really, no. I've looked at the creation side a little bit. I'm aware of some of the stuff and I know how some of it works, but I haven't attempted to properly make a game before. And as a lot of people with Crayta, I've looked into game dev a little bit before, and I'm aware of terms and aware of how to read code personally, but I've never written anything or anything like that.
Okay, so fairly fresh to the whole game dev thing. Although it sounds like you've got some stuff, some preconceived knowledge. I think if anyone, I think that no one starts completely from scratch because you've played games, so there's already like a language you're aware of there with game design. You know what a good game looks like, or a game that's difficult to play, or you know some stuff already. So we'll be leaning on that knowledge. My mic is cracking. Oh no.
Oh, that's not good.
So sorry.
Yeah, there's got to be something through the mix, because it sounds fine on Discord.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Hang on a sec. Let me have a look at the mix. Come here, mix. Mixy. Put that down. Oh, it's because my audio input capture is up super high, so it's probably not having a great time.
Yeah, it might be peaking.
Yeah, might be peaking a little bit there. Okay, maybe that's better. Maybe you could let me know. Thanks, Plasma. Thanks, Sinksar. Hopefully that's a bit better. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm still peaking a little bit. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so just keep me informed of how my mic is doing, because I don't know. I'm talking and I'm assuming it's okay. Hopefully that's better. You probably can't hear the game audio when I'm doing that mixing stuff, so yeah, let me know. Hello, Marat. Hello, Naya. Hello, Alex White, Don Hyena. Hello, with this symbol. And hello, Plasma. I hope you are all doing super well. If you're joining us just now, what we were just talking about was game dev. Shrath is going to embark on a game dev learning mission, and we're going to work on some stuff together and make some games. Too much amp. Yes, possibly with the microphone. It was just set to, full. What could go wrong? So now it is not set to full anymore, so hopefully that's better. So let me get let's just get this stuff up. Okay, so the first thing I thought we could do, Shrath, what I thought we could do And maybe this is like the right way to go about this. Maybe not. We'll figure it out as we go along a little bit. That's mostly what I do anyway. So I think one easy starting point would be possibly working on a game, an obstacle course, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Something which
Simple.
doesn't need loads of like custom code or anything like that. We won't necessarily be dipping into code today, but obstacle courses are fun and they're great to make. They could be quite quick and easy to make, but making a good one can take a bit of time, a bit of practice, and plenty of feedback and stuff like that. So I think it's a good starting point for a game.
Yeah, it's a good skill floor.
Yeah. So I thought one thing we could have a look at is this obstacle course as like a bit of a ideas generation. This is the obstacle course in the hub. This is it's like a treasure hunt / obstacle course, and just doing this. Have a think about whilst we're doing this. Have a little think about what's going on. What are the obstacles? There's things that kill you, but there's also things in your way, things you have to dodge around. Your path isn't straightforward, all of that kind of stuff. You got any thoughts on this obstacle course, Shrath? Things you notice about it? Just that.
The obstacles are well worked into the theme of the course. There's not just like random stuff going on.
Yeah, that's a super important observation. So the obstacles make sense, right?
Yeah.
That works really nicely. Sometimes it's okay to be really abstract with obstacles, depending on what your theme is. But like the cannons popping back, and what's this thing called?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's it's for the anchor.
I feel like it's called a spiralizer, but I think that's also something completely different that's used in the kitchen.
Yeah, that sounds like something to cut up your vegetables.
Okay, so
that's some sort of wheel for raising and lowering the anchor.
So that spins around and sends you flying.
And then there's the rolling barrel down below as well. It's going back and forth.
Yeah. And up here, there's some rolling barrels, there's sharks. The axes,
The axes are a little bit out of theme, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's artistic license, right? Because it's got to be fun as well, right? As a game. Oh god, I got hit by a shark.
And then there's also the hatches as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, little trapdoors. So this like super important in a game to make sure that it's not just making sense, but it's also fun. So that's the thing where the axes come in, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
So, would you say this is a success? I'd say this is a very successful obstacle course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hi, Unai. Nice to see you. We're chatting about this obstacle course, which is in the hub. Everyone can play this. This is in the hub. And we're just getting like a little bit of this is what makes a good obstacle course kind of vibe. So Shrath's mentioned the theming and the obstacles make sense. Anything else you notice?
It's not this specific obstacle course isn't about a race from point A to point B, but more about attempting to find an optimal path through a larger area.
Yeah. It's not linear, right?
Yeah.
So like because the treasure you're trying to find, the obstacle it's less like an obstacle course and more it's an obstacle treasure hunt, isn't it? So it's not necessarily, like you say, it's not necessarily like straightforward, and you actually end up dodging the same obstacles multiple times as you try and find the treasure. Oh.
Yeah, there might be some backtracking.
I'm not very good at games, but that's okay. Just keep getting clobbered by the axe. Yeah, so that's this specific obstacle course, and that also goes in with the theme, right? Ride the shark over the ship. I didn't know you could do that.
Ship. Yeah, there's some physics going on if you ride the shark.
What? Which shark? Is it a specific shark? Is it this one at the back?
I think any of them, if you manage to like time it right.
I thought I did pretty well there, but no.
I haven't done it myself, but I've definitely seen the Discord posts about it.
That's a good point actually. If you like Crayta and you want to make games and you like playing games, definitely check out our Discord, discord.gg/Crayta. And if you like this stream, or you like streams in general, streams of audio visual things streamed over the internet, and you like game dev or playing games, then make sure to like and subscribe this video on YouTube or Twitch, whichever you like, or both. If you really like both of them, that's great. That's an option. You can do that, and I hope you do. Cool. So that's us looking at, this is like a really, really good obstacle course, and it's an obstacle course, but it also does something a little bit different because it's got a treasure hunt, so it's not like a linear, straightforward obstacle course. The theming is super tight, and the obstacles all make sense. How about the difficulty curve, Shrath? Was it hard, too easy?
Combined with the treasure hunting aspect, it increases the difficulty a bit, but the obstacles themselves aren't particularly difficult.
Okay.
It's just about recognizing the timing and patterns.
Mm-hmm.
But you're having to go across them multiple times and find specific objectives in it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really key thing, is like, it doesn't have to be ultra difficult. In fact, like, you kind of want your player to figure it out. You part of you wants to make it hard, and part of you wants to make it like you almost tell the player how to get past the obstacle. You make it like, this is how to get past the obstacle, and then also it's actually a challenge to do that, but you know what you're doing, right? So the challenge comes from executing the path, not necessarily from the challenge comes from executing the pathway.
Yeah,
cool.
You don't want the difficulty to be from obscured mechanics.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Obscured mechanics. So like where things get in the way and like you don't know where to go, and that's like a different type of obstacle. It's like not as much fun. Okay, should we make a game? Should we go and make one of these?
At least start.
I'm ready if you're ready. What I want you to do, are we friends on here? Let me just check.
We are not, I don't believe.
Can you add me as a friend? Can I add you? How do we do that? Recent.
You aren't showing up in my recent. That's interesting.
Social recent. Okay.
Yeah, you aren't on my recent for some reason.
Current. There you are. Current. Send friend invite.
Okay. Right. Yep.
So recent would be if we'd moved to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So have you got my invite?
Yes, and I have accepted now.
Oh, we're friends officially. That's great.
Then we can create it. Well.
Okay, so you've created a group.
So I have invited you to a group.
Okay. What I'd also like you to do, Shrath, is I'd like you to create a game. So if you go to your escape menu and click on create.
Oh, that is crashed.
Oh no! No!
We will be back momentarily with my gameplay.
Oh no! Where's it gone?
The game did not like me trying to create something.
Oh dear. Maybe try that again. Are you booting it up now?
I'm currently relaunching. Yeah.
Okay. Once you're up and running, if you want to go back on the stream, should be coming in. There he is. Right. Do you want to try creating again?
Yes, we will try that again.
So
Okay.
escape, go create, and click
There we
create a
go.
new game, and then not an
Then
obstacle
we're gonna
course. If you go to time trial, because an obstacle course is great, but it doesn't have the leaderboard with the timing, the numbers, whereas time trial does. So obstacle course is a great starter, but we're gonna start with a is it time trial? Yeah, we're gonna start with the time trial.
Yeah, I'm joking.
And then we will. Is it time trial that I want? I'm pretty sure it's the time trial I want. Or is it race? No, I'm pretty sure it's time trial. Timed race between 2 points. Players can repeat the race at any time. Yeah, do time trial, not race.
Yeah, time trial would be more individual, whereas race is like a group thing.
Yeah, that's right. Name it whatever you like. You can change the name when we come to publish it, and we haven't necessarily nailed down a theme or anything yet, so name it what you want. And then once you've created your game and head in there,
We'll just go with the default image or
Yeah.
what it's on anyways.
yeah,
And game created.
nice, cool. So you are making a game. Is it on its way in now?
It is loading right now, yes.
So what are we going to do?
There we go.
Once you're in there, you're in there now, cool. Can you invite me as a collaborator? So if you go to your create menu,
It's social.
no,
under create.
Yeah, in the game you've just made, click on that, and then click sharing at the top,
Sharing.
and then that's it,
There
and
we
then
go.
me, that's it, and then continue, and then
And
I should get hold of
Questions
that.
changed.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. Games you can edit. I should now be able to see in my games you can edit the game you just made. Create a journey. Edit. So I'm going to come into your game. If you like,
Sounds good.
just to get an idea of what it looks like, you could preview the game by pressing F5 on your keyboard.
Yep.
And this is our starting point. So we've got checkpoints, we've got some scary obstacles, and we've got a finish line. So if I run,
To be more specific, we have a start line and a checkpoint,
yeah,
because that would be different than just a checkpoint.
you got it, and a finish line. So it's pretty simple. What do you think of this obstacle course compared to the one we just played?
This is clearly a linear one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously this is intended to show mechanics, but it's an interesting choice to have a checkpoint and then a finish line without any obstacles in between them. It doesn't seem like that would be really necessary.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it might be worth having a leaderboard at the start as well as the finish, so that way you can see what time you're going for when you load in, rather than just at the end.
Okay. That's some good ideas. I love it. So we've got start line, we've got checkpoint, we've got leaderboard, and we've got those obstacles, dangerous obstacles. And yeah, it's a bit weird. It doesn't quite work. You can't publish this yet, especially not as your first game, because it's not fun yet. I mean, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's not as fun as you want to make it, right?
No, definitely not. We need at least a few more pillars at the very least.
Yeah. 4 more pillars and ship it. So what we're going to do, to embark on our journey in here is I'm going to select the checkpoints and the obstacles, and I'm going to move them out of the way. We're going to keep hold of them all because we don't want to like break our game logic, but they're not super important until we actually get to making the game. But before we make the game, what I thought we could do, just get rid of those, and I'll just use the Extrude Tool to get rid of this stuff like this. Don't worry too much right now, and then I will make a copy of this terrain. Cool, so we've got like a blank slate starting point now, which is fine. And what I thought we could do is, to start with, we have, when we're making an obstacle course, we're essentially relying on some like core mechanics. In game dev, we've got like 3 kind of main areas, so they all intertwine and feed into each other and, you know, join forces to make an awesome game. But generally speaking, we've got the mechanics of the game, which is what you do in the game, and that's the key and most important thing, because what you do needs to be fun. On top of that, we have our art, which is everything from our story to our you know, the dressing of the place. It's kind of like the why is this character doing this thing. So we have our mechanics, which is what we're doing, and then we have our like layer on top of that, which is the dressing and kind of the why we're doing it, why it's important, and the story behind all of that. And then we've also got the kind of the interactivity, the functionality, and the code side of it. So we've got these 3 kind of areas that we tend to think about. We can think about them separately, but they are so intertwined. And the best games use all 3 completely intertwined to like create a really immersive experience. So like the pirate ship we were just on, they used a mixture of the mechanics of what you have to do, the theming and the plot of running around this pirate ship trying to find treasure, which makes complete sense as a narrative in a pirate theme, but it also makes complete sense in the story, in the set dressing, and in the obstacles themselves. And then we had the specific functionality of like barrels rolling around, sharks jumping overboard, and that's all like to do with the code side of it as well. And so the key to it all really is this kind of mechanics, is the underneath it all. What do we do? And the key mechanics of an obby is moving around. So to make a really good obby, you kind of have to be really get to grips with how characters move in Crayta. You've played Crayta quite a lot, I take it. Already.
Just a little bit, yeah. It is part of my job.
So you understand the, like, you probably have, like me, if I press tab and I'm in basic mode, you probably have like a bit of a sixth sense about how far you can jump when you're just running, how far you can jump when you're sprinting, and all of that kind of thing.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know perfectly exact, but I can roughly judge.
So one thing we can have a look at first is white boxing is the process of us marking out a level using untextured, unthemed like assets, and we're going to use our voxel mesh here. So we're going to white box a few obstacles and just jam some obstacle ideas using just voxel tools. So the voxels are these like individual squares in our game. If you click on the pen tool at the top, firstly, if you enter advanced mode by pressing tab, we're going to generally be working in this view.
Yeah.
On the left hand side, you'll see we've got a library, which is where you can find all of the different assets you can use. And you've also got this community tab, which is packages that are made by our community. Along the top, you've got the different tools that you can use. These are generally our voxel tools, and the mouse cursor, the select tool, which works with meshes and every other entity. But all these other tools along the top here are specifically for working with voxels. So you can think of them as, you know, as kind of like your voxel tools along there. And then on the right hand side, we've got our world tree, which is basically a list of every object we've got in our game, every entity that's in our game. And that can include things like our checkpoints, which you can see checkpoint 1, 2, and 3. Our death obstacles, which are the things that hurt the players. And even like invisible things like this. If you click on Start Default, you'll see that it's like an invisible, it's just a handle. It's just 3 arrows in the game. And it's invisible. So it's essentially just a point in space, Start Default. It's just a point in the 3D world to spawn the player at. So you've got that. And when you click on one of the items in the world tree on the right hand side, you'll see that underneath that we have this entity editor, which is all the kind of the properties that are kind of to do with that entity. So for example, if you click on like one of the death obstacles, you'll see it's in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You'll see it's got a position and rotation and all of that kind of stuff. And then if you scroll down, if you use the mouse wheel in that menu, you can scroll down and then you can see things like the death collision script, which is the thing which makes it kill you. And the rotate and move script, which is the thing that is moving it around. So on top of those properties, there's also these additional functionality we can add to things in the entity editor over there. So that's like a really quick run through of the screen. The things we're going to be using today are the voxels on the left hand side in our library and the voxel tools along the top. We're not really going to be worrying about the world tree today because most of what we're doing is white boxing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that all makes sense.
Cool. So to start with, you said you had some idea about moving around as your character in Crayta. W, A, S, and D to move, and space to jump, shift to sprint, control to walk, C to crouch, double tap C to roll. You know those functions. Oh, sliding. What's that? Hold.
Yeah, you can sprint and crouch.
Sprint and crouch to slide. So we've got these kind of, yeah, this is like our core mechanic in an obstacle course, is moving around. And being good at moving around means we'll be good at being at an obstacle course. So to start with, what I thought we could do is have a look at like how far can we jump? Just do a jump competition. And then we can have a look at, well, if that's how far we can jump on a flat piece of ground, how far can we jump on a high piece of ground? How far can we jump from top to bottom and all that sort of thing?
Yep.
So, you've already got out the pen tool. You're already adding some blocks. This is what I like to see. So what are you doing? You making a jump?
Yeah, just creating kind of a staircase so that we can test jump heights with the 2 different types of mantling, because there's a faster mantle if there's something lower that you can't quite just jump onto, but then there's also a slower mantle if it's a lot higher up and you have to pull your full body up.
Okay, so you're making a staircase up. That's cool. Should we make another one the other side to jump to?
Yeah.
So do you want to, are you going to do that? Should I add like a little staircase here? Something like this?
Yeah, you can add stuff in as well.
Let's do that.
Because I think that's probably about the highest we can go to, but just to be sure. But I don't think we can get to that 4th one.
What do you mean, like jump up there?
But yeah, I don't think we can. Yeah.
Okay, so how high can we jump? Which one?
We can slow mantle up to the 3rd stair.
Okay, so you built that. What you did is you got the pen tool and you were just adding blocks, and you got to the point where we can jump to this one, but we can't jump to that one. So we've got an idea about how high we can jump. That's cool.
And then if you wanted specifics, you could obviously do single blocks, but since that just did that test there, that shows that this is the maximum jump height. Because you can't make it if you move if you go 1 voxel higher, you can't make it anymore.
Okay, cool. So if that's our maximum jump height, do you want to use the Extrude tool to bring that last one down that we can't reach? You used the Extrude tool before?
Let's see. I don't remember where everything is though.
Yeah, that's okay. That stuff,
You can bring that
that
down.
stuff comes with practice.
But yeah, with the extrude, you can select surfaces and pull them off of the different faces that you have.
That's right, yeah. So with this extrude tool, what I wanted to do is really look at pen and extrude. They're like the key to making things quickly in Crayta.
Yeah.
So with the extrude tool, which is next to the fill bucket, and if you,
Yep.
yeah, you got that one. If you hover over the surface at the top, very top of your stairs, and just click and hold and bring that down, so that it's in line with the other one. That's it. Perfect. So a good way to make levels in Crayta is draw a thing with the pen and then grab the extrude tool and move it to where you want it to be. That's generally, I find, a very, very quick way to do it. And also you can cut things out, right? You can either add a block,
Yeah.
you can add a block, and because it will essentially, it will select a face. If I click and hold on that block and then pull it the other way, it will remove blocks from that. So it adds blocks and it removes blocks. And you can either like cut things out or you can add them. So can you jump from that jump to that jump?
Yeah, that should be pretty easy if I remember controls. Those are extremely close together.
Okay, so we can jump that without sprinting or anything, right?
Yeah.
Cool. What about now? Okay.
Yep. You can still make it with a little bit.
So you still not sprinting?
No.
Okay. What about now?
Getting there.
Okay.
Maybe a block or two off.
Okay.
Because there's also something in game mechanics that not. And there we go. That would be about the edge if it wasn't mantle.
Okay. Let's just try one more.
There's an interesting concept with games that and something's taken to mind, especially with obbies, with coyote time in games, where you can actually jump after you've left a ledge.
Yeah. So it's not strictly
So
playing
using
by...
that, you can make it a bit farther. Even though I've fallen off of that ledge, I can still make it to that one by jumping in the air.
Yeah, which is strictly not how physics works. Because if you tried jumping on thin air, you would just kick your legs down and continue your fall to earth. This you can still make this jump though. I've seen you do it a couple of times.
Yeah, using coyote time you can. If you don't know about coyote time, or you don't use it properly, then it's not makeable. But with coyote time, you can make that one extra voxel.
And coyote time is what you're talking about, where you're basically jumping on thin air after leaving the edge of the platform. Yeah. And you have to do it at speed, right? What if I made them the same height? Can you get that?
Yeah. That probably isn't makeable anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't mantle when you're jumping in air and it's already above you. Like, you'd have to be jumping from the ground to make that mantle.
Can you make this one? I've just shortened it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got how many blocks is that? Let's just do this. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's just grab the shape tool. It's 22. Yeah. So 22.
Yeah, it's 11 of these larger green grid, which is 2 voxels each.
So
which is another good reason to use this texture, because it allows you to easily count.
Absolutely. So it's 22 voxels across, and out of all the jumps you did, where there was 2 platforms, what was the most thrilling?
The one that feels like you aren't going to make it, which is obviously the farther the jump is.
Yeah, so probably like this distance.
Yeah.
That's the most exciting jump. So when we're making a game, we want to have thrilling moments like that. We want to have easy moments, and we want to have moments where maybe, yeah, like in between those. So we've got some easy stuff, we've also got some hard stuff. And the more difficult something is, the more thrilling it is. And also, we can do things like, if I took out the floor, like that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you threaten the player with a reset or a loss of progress, it makes it more thrilling as well.
Yeah. So now we're throwing in a bit of peril. Throwing in some peril. Yeah. So basic, very, very basic jump puzzle, but we can make that. We can still make that pretty exciting, even in a white box environment. We can, because it's far away and it's over impending doom. It's still pretty exciting to do that jump. But we've also just like figured out how long we can jump on the same level. So let's just like extend this staircase out a bit either way. Do you want to extend it out the other side using your extrude tool?
Sure. And that's right there.
Yeah, next to the paint bucket. Nice. So it's a little bit easier to jump further down.
Yeah, you have a bit more distance because arch trajectories.
Yeah, because physics.
But not a whole lot, just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think that with that extra bit there as well, like there's almost, you can play with this idea that if I don't quite make it and I have to mantle, that slows me down. So there's another bit of peril there, which is, you know, one, making it in general, but two, making a good time, because our players want to, like some people want to get on the top of the leaderboard. So we can use like an easy-ish jump that if you mistime it will cost you time rather than an entire life. Or entire like all of the time to get respawned at the checkpoint and all that sort of stuff. So we can play around with a couple of like those ideas with our jump puzzles. And jump puzzles is like the cornerstone of an obstacle course. You got jump puzzles. You also have the moving around scary objects. But if we can think of a few different ways of let's just come up with a few ideas between us about like some jumps we can do. Maybe a next thing we could also consider is theming. We're going to make an obstacle course game. What should we make it about? Any ideas?
That's always a tough one.
What? Well, at the moment we've got this. Is there anything that's springing to mind with this kind of jumping? Like I'm thinking there's a bit of a rooftop jumping type thing there. That's regularly done.
Free running kind of style.
Yeah, maybe some. So there's a good bunch of questions you can ask yourself, like when are we and where are we and why are we running? Are we running to something? Are we running away from something? Thinking of those kind of reasons behind, and that's going to be a bit of your homework as well, Shrath. Hello there. Yeah. Hello, Owain Doomer. Nice to see you. That's going to be a little bit of your homework, is also writing a little bit of a narrative around why we're running away. But just while we're jamming ideas, should we like theme this? Do you want to theme it maybe along with our current Battle Pass theme? We've got pirates and parkour.
Yeah, we could do like some sort of ship wreckage with like floating debris, and we're trying to jump to an island or something.
Okay, yeah. Are we trying to run away from an island or run towards an island?
I think if we start on the shipwreck, going to the island would make the most narrative sense rather than going from an island to a ship with like floating debris in the water and such.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're going to be doing generally jump puzzles, and it's going to be jumping from sort of flotsam or things that are floating on the water from one floaty thing to another floaty thing, maybe some islands in there. What other things might we be jumping from and to? Just like ideas.
Rocks out of the water. Um, Obviously, all the flotsam and jetsam. There could be like small islands and stuff on the way.
Yeah. So little islands. We've got some little islands. We've got some flotsam and jetsam. Some. If it's a shipwreck.
Intrusions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be some pieces of ship, like instead of just the cargo.
Yeah. We could have bits of ship.
There could be other shipwrecks as well.
Yeah. Okay. So other shipwrecks, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be a common occurrence there.
Why did we crash? That's a key thing. Why did we shipwreck?
Could be either could work this into like the world settings and have like some dense fog and a bunch of protrusions, and we hit a protrusion or coral reef or something. There is some shallow water that we weren't aware of, something along those lines.
Okay, so we can do some rocks, some protrusions, possibly sharks, anything like that.
Yeah, that could be aquatic life.
Okay, cool. So we've got like quite a few ideas about things we can jump from and to. We've got a general idea of the length we can jump, which is 22 blocks, and that's the furthest we can go. So what I'd like us to do is, if I just get some grass, what I'd like you to do, Shrath, is in your voxel menu on the left hand side, if you get if you search in the bar at the top for grass or like sand, maybe sand is better. Search for sand, because it's good. We're going to be doing like some islands and stuff. Pick a sand, any sand, and then choose the voxel pen tool and the paintbrush and the paintbrush modifier at the top.
The paintbrush, gotcha.
Choose the sphere as well rather than the cube modifier, and then you can use the mouse wheel to increase the size or decrease the size. And to start with, what we'll do is, if you just draw a few islands on the floor, we're just playing with the idea of jump puzzles here. So if I drew one there, one there, like this, and like a little one, and another one over here, little one over here, and then you've drawn a few islands.
Have some different paths as well.
Yeah, nice. Island hopping. Ooh, big one.
You can also play with the idea of like having shorter jumps, but a longer jump that you could make as well if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah. We're really sketching at the minute some of these ideas. So you don't even need to go further than that. You can just, from there, we can do some jumping. See if we can make some of these. And let's say we kind of got a bit of a route there already. Like, let's say this is the start in this corner, and where you are is the finish. That's got us some. It's got us a basic obstacle course with some jumps.
Yeah.
We know our general size of a jump. We're going to leave. Tell you what, we know our general size, so it doesn't matter if we get rid of that. So we know that it's 22 is our key size. Let's just get rid of this stuff over here and close that hole. And then if you look for water in your voxel library, and choose a water, any water, and then choose the fill bucket.
Then we can go to the fill bucket. Yep.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Right, so you've got your island hopper, and if you hover your mouse cursor over in advanced mode, if you hover your mouse cursor over an island and press R on your keyboard, you will move your player there.
Yep.
And so that means we can really easily test some of these jumps out. So what do you think of it so far?
It's basic, but some of them are really close jumps. Close as in not as in tight, not necessarily as in close together. And then some of them are a bit farther, bit closer together, which makes them less immediately thrilling, but it adds to the pacing of not just constantly doing the same jump constantly.
Mm-hmm. Does it have any kind of difficulty curve at the moment? Do you know what I mean when I say difficulty curve?
Yeah, sort of starting off at an easier pace and then ramping the difficulty up a bit to get people more comfortable with the mechanics of the game. In this case right now, it would just be jumping and sprinting.
Okay, yeah. So, generally speaking, yeah, we've got jumping and sprinting at the minute. In an ideal world, for an obstacle course, you kind of start easy and get gradually harder. That would be like most games. You kind of, to keep the player interested, you can start fairly straightforward and get the player kind of invested, thinking about what the player wants from the game. At the start, they're really learning about the storyline, they're learning about what their players can do, if they've got any special attributes and all that sort of stuff. As the game progresses, that's not going to tick their boxes. So as the player jumps from island to island and gets like halfway around, you start wanting to challenge them a bit. And we're just imagining at the moment that the water is dangerous, right? Maybe it's shark infested, so you're not allowed to land in the water. It slows you down.
Yeah, it's shark infested, or if you fall down, the islands are higher up and you can't get back on something. Mm-hmm. We're just pretending that for now.
Yeah, totally. But if we wanted to increase the difficulty, can you think of any good ways to do that?
We could make some of the jump with just the basic mechanics. We could make some of the jumps have a higher elevation, so they have to mantle and not just directly jump. We could space them a bit farther out.
Yeah. So we could make the jumps a bit longer, and we could make them, or we could make some of the land higher. So just as we're still kind of white boxing, but now with some materials, why don't you grab the Extrude Tool and make some of them higher? And the other thing you can do is, if you use the eyedropper and select the water, and then the pen tool with the paintbrush, you can cut off edges of some of these islands and make them a little bit further away. Do you get what I mean? So just colouring in the edges with water to sort of lengthen some of these jumps. And the reason we're doing that now is we want our game to be doable and fun before we come to like do any like dressing or elaborate on this design in any way, or even before we start like embellishing our narrative or anything like that, because we want to make sure that our game is fun. If it's fun like this, where there's not much going on, you know it's going to be fun when you've got the dressing and all the effects and some dangerous objects and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
So, thinking about our difficulty curve and some of the options you've just mentioned, like raising terrain, why don't you have a go at raising some of the terrain and lengthening out some of these jumps? and then testing as you go a little bit. Like if a jump is getting too difficult that's early on, like I just wiped out a bit of this island and it started getting a bit hard. You can either add an island in the middle of it, or you can add a bit more sand to your island to make it a bit more enjoyable. Nice. Yeah, these are cool. Hello, we've got loads of people that have like joined. There's Cast, who's joined. So nice to see you, Cast. Scar, nice to see you, Kit. I'm sorry about my audio. Don't know what's going on with that. I will have to have another look once this stream is over proper, because like in everything that I can see, it looks okay, but it's not. I do believe you. I just don't know what I can do whilst I'm on stream to improve my crackly mic. So apologies.
Yeah, audio issues are always a mess.
Yeah. So thank you so much for letting me know. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry I don't know what to do about it right now. Hello to Crayta on Espanol. Hello to Mejuel Aquemo. And hello to Madai. And hello Hisakan. Hey everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Lots of people.
Lots of people, yeah. We are embarking on a little bit of a journey where Shrath is learning some game dev. And at the moment, what we're doing is building an obstacle course, which, as we all know, is kind of a rite of passage in Crayta. You know, if you haven't made an obstacle course in Crayta, have you really made a game? That's the question. And right now, Shrath is going through the process of, we have some islands. We're doing like a bit of a pirate theme, although we can still change theme because it's early days. This could be in space.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, we can turn these into asteroids and void the water.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why we're keeping it kind of loose. But we're white boxing at the minute, and we're just... Shrath is making an obstacle course, and at the moment it's just exploring the basic jump mechanic. Now, some of these are getting a little bit more difficult, but I feel like at the end we could make something very tricky. I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
Like the most difficult jump at the very end, possibly?
Yeah, we could try and do a longest distance, but then also increase the height so that you're having to get a mantle out of it as well.
Yeah. We'll try a few things, shall we? Do you want to...
Yeah.
With this last one, let's say... I'm going to stand on that island. Let's say I'm here, and I've got one big jump to get to the finish point. Do you want to put one in front of me?
Yep.
You just draw... If
We'll
you
go
draw it
over
on the
to
floor
the
in some
pen.
sand. Yeah, you got it.
There we go. I think about there might be it.
Okay, that's cool. That was thrilling. So I need to sprint jump. Yeah. So if I sprint jump, did you see where I landed? That's how far you can cut that a little bit, so that I'm only just making that.
Let's see here. We keep it on extrude, right? We can push in.
Okay, let me try that.
There we go.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe a little even further, like one more block.
Yeah, we can try another voxel.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool. Can we go even further? Let's just test the limits for these two heights.
Let's keep going. There we go. There's a mantle.
Yeah. Right, one more. Let's just double check. Okay, can keep going. Awesome.
Let's see if we can make it.
Yeah.
Oh, still making.
I'm still making it.
Want to try one more?
I think you could try 2 more.
Okay. There we go.
Hey. Okay. If you leave it there, because I don't think I did a good job. Right. Do you want to come test this out? See if you can make it. You're probably better than me.
There we go. Gotta get that coyote time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where we want that one, I think, because it's the last one, right? So let me just clear this bit out and let's just fill this with water. I use this block here. Use the shape tool. Cool.
If you extruded from the island side, you could just pull it into the hole.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Should have done that. Cool. So we've got. Let's try it out. Let's try our obstacle course out. So in order to test this, like on the live game version, if you move checkpoint 1, if you see it in the world tree, if you click on checkpoint 1 in the world tree and then press F1, it will select the select and move tool, and then you can use the handles that are on it to move it onto the island we're on. That's it. And then you can sink it in, and then if you press shift and drag the blue handle, just position it just above the sand. That's it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Cool. Perfect. The end one, so checkpoint 3, if you want to move that to that last jump island.
And then shift for small adjustments. You want it a little bit off the edge so that they don't hit it when they're trying to get to it, and if they fail.
Yeah. And then the checkpoint one, if you want to put that, probably, I'll tell you what would be quite nice is for the checkpoint, if it's just after a medium difficulty jump. So this,
I was thinking
maybe
probably on this larger chunk that you're on.
Yeah. I like this bit because this bit's got multiple ways of getting it up there, getting up to that bit.
Yeah. Just somewhere on this end of it.
Cool. Okay. And finally, what we need is a thing which kills us when we land in the sea.
Yes.
So for that, let me just see. Death collision script. Is that what we want? Center script kill. Okay.
And then we should also extrude the water down just a little bit so that the islands aren't flat with it at the start.
Yeah, good shout. Good idea, said the big skeleton. Right, so for that last bit, what might be a good idea is us to make a separate voxel mesh for the water, and then when we collide with that voxel mesh, that's when it sends us back to the start.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the easiest way. So there's a few different ways of us making it so that when we hit the water, we die. One of them is a separate voxel mesh, like I've just said, which has the death collision script on it. So it'll act like those red things up at the top, but it will be the water. So that's one thing about like game dev is there's always more than one way to do things, and sometimes it's hard to know which one, and sometimes you just choose one until it's causing a problem, and then you might have to go back and choose a different one. It's kind of like taking a pathway. Maybe you've got 3 doors in front of you, and you're not sure which one is the right door until you go through it, try it out, and then you might have to come back and try a different doorway. And that's totally fine. You can do that, especially while you're learning, and especially in Crayta, because it's so quick to do that sort of thing. So one way would be to change the voxel mesh. Another way would be to actually go to our world settings and set the depth Z, to a lot higher. At the moment it's minus 1000, which is when it respawns us and kills us. If we set it to minus 100, where does that put us? If I put my character here.
Well, that's just about right.
Is it?
Yeah, you almost nailed it. It's like 1 or 2 voxels into the water.
Brilliant. That was just pure
Calculated.
fluke. Pure fluke. I wonder if we can turn off can swim. No, that's fine. We can't turn off break. Okay, so rather than us changing the voxel mesh, we now have that. I don't know if you've noticed, but where you've lowered the water.
Yeah, the water is still attached to the bottom layer since we paintbrushed the top.
Right, so an easy fix, if you wanted to, is make sure you've got the sand selected as your voxel, so you can use the eyedropper for that. And then choose the shape tool.
The shape tool.
Which is next to the pen. It's the cube next to the pen.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then choose the paintbrush of that one.
Okay.
And then if you draw like a single line of voxels on the side of one of these at the right height, and then what we'll do is we'll make a massive cube and we will cut all the way through like this, and that will just paint all of that voxel on that layer.
Okay.
Hey, can you see my screen? Can you see what I'm doing here?
I do not have your screen up, but I'm also doing the same thing on my screen.
Okay.
So that would cover.
Yes, perfect. Yeah. So make like as
a little bit out on this side. There we go.
There you go. And then just double check it all the way around. Make sure that it's.
And then, oh yeah.
It's all.
Make sure that it encapsulates everything.
Yeah. And if it's all good,
hit apply.
Hit apply or hit enter on your keyboard, and that will paint in all of those voxels into the sand color. And yeah, there you go. And because you drew it on the terrain, notice it hasn't changed your checkpoint. So it'll only affect the voxel mesh which you drew it on to start with. Cool. So we've got some islands. All right, let's test it out. Press F5 to test it. Are you testing on a new server?
I hit F5. It's currently loading.
Okay.
Oh. We did not move the start point. That is something important to keep in mind with this.
Okay. So, where's the start point?
The start point is probably in the sky still from before.
It's actually in the water. So I'm just going to move that. And I'm going to plop it on this first island. There you go. I'll put it just above the ground, so we'll land in there.
So there's no clipping issues.
If I press F5 now, it should preview.
Yep.
Okay, let's see if it works.
You okay?
I don't know. For some reason I've just ended up in the water, but it did respawn me at the checkpoint after 8 seconds. That's a good jump. Interesting. Why did I die?
On my end, you fell into the water, but then you also continued forward. It was I saw the verge of parallel universes before my eyes.
Okay. Hey, the big jump, big finish.
You got this.
Oh no!
So close.
So did you die when you went round?
I did not know.
Okay,
I
so
didn't do that real quick though.
yeah, when we're making, we have to test winning and losing. Make sure both work.
Yes.
So you're still in the water, right?
Yeah, it kept me floating there.
So one thing I'm thinking. What do you think? What do you think of it?
Well, for an obstacle course, you would typically want a fast respawn so that people can get back to where they were.
So do you think we need to shorten that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. Right answer.
And it might be worth adding a second checkpoint earlier on as well, since we only have one and it's kind of late into the obstacle.
Yeah.
And then some way to get back to the start of the race as well.
Ah, that's a good point, because we can't get back to the start.
Because once you've finished currently, you can't redo it. You'd have to relaunch the game.
So we need like a one-way path to get back to the start as well.
Yeah, or without coding, a one-way prompt would be the easiest. But with coding, you could also have like a button prompt, and people go back to the start.
Yeah, we can also do something like just a fall down. Like if you have a really high level and you fall down.
We could have like some docks that lead over there or something.
Yeah, like you can't then jump back up because it's too high, but falling down is easy. Like that's probably the simplest way to do it. Like a one-way path is
definitely, yeah.
It's like a higher up path that then you fall down. But otherwise, I'm feeling good about it. I feel like we definitely need to start looking at theming it some more. Right, so what was our feedback from that session? Can you remember? To ourselves.
The feedback was a shorter respawn time.
Okay.
And then possibly another checkpoint, and then a way to restart the race after you've completed it.
Cool. So 4 things. We had, respawn needs to be shorter, another checkpoint, a way to get back to the start, and then something else. Which I've forgotten.
Was there a 4th?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Maybe stream can remind us.
Maybe. Or maybe there was those 3. And theming. And all of that stuff. That's like a next big job thing. To start with, let's make it a faster respawn. So that's to do with the game logic.
Okay.
So let's say, I kind of know where this might be, but let's say we don't know exactly how to do that, how to make it a faster respawn. What might we do? We basically need to have a look and find out where the spawn logic for our player is. And
yes,
that could be on an obstacle in our game, but it could also be if we use the drop down in the top right corner and look for, we've got our player template. So you know the template's top drop down? So
yes.
Yeah. So you've got a player template in there, which has got a bunch of stuff to do with our player character. And you also in that drop down, you've got user. And in the user, it's got notifications, race user, and it's got spawn. And spawn's probably where our spawn logic is, right? So if you can't find something like to do with the game logic, firstly check in the actual game world, and then check the player, and then check the user templates, and just see if there's anything that could be a clue. So if you click on spawn and scroll down in the entity editor,
Yeah, there's the respawn delay second to the bottom.
Respawn delay time, and that's currently set to 8 seconds. So what do you reckon a good respawn delay time might be? Like 3 seconds? 5 seconds?
Yeah, somewhere 3 to 1 probably.
Okay.
You don't want to have an instant respawn because the player might be currently holding a movement key, and you want to give them a little bit of time to let go of that so they don't respawn and then immediately run off a cliff.
Totally. And also you want to tell them why they died. There's also something really satisfying about seeing your player go hurtling across the screen if it gets clobbered by a shark. So giving enough time for them to be able to see that, and at the same time, where'd you go?
Yeah, Joe goes in here. He's chilling.
Oh, can he leave?
Yeah, it would be messing up the cameras.
Yeah, sorry, Joe, go. Can you leave? Thanks.
There we go.
Sorry, Joe, go. Sorry. Yeah, the spawn respawn delay. You've set to 3 now, right?
Yeah, I've set it to 3 currently.
Okay, cool. What else did we have? We had let's put another checkpoint in.
Yes.
That was a thing. Where do you want the other checkpoint? Which island? Do you want to stand on it?
I was thinking probably on this one would make the most. Either this one or this one.
Yeah. Or
I think this one makes the most sense. Or or back there.
I mean, this one they might miss it. They might go from here over here.
Yeah.
So if we put it.
Yeah, I think this one makes the most sense.
Also, that's like kind of a medium difficulty jump. That one.
Yeah.
So they might want to, yeah. Okay, so let's say we want a checkpoint here. Let's copy checkpoint 2. So if you select it in the world tree, and then, and then Control-C, Control-V.
Yep.
You've got checkpoint 4 now.
New checkpoint.
Yeah, and then plonk it on the place where you want to put it.
Let me get a better view.
There you go. I love that you're shoving yourself out the way. It's great. Okay, cool. Now we just need to set up our logic so that it makes sense.
Yes.
Because if you look with that checkpoint 4 still selected in the checkpoint script in the entity editor, it's got spawn location, which is fine because that's set to checkpoint start, which is it within checkpoint 4. But next
which is part of the template.
Next checkpoint is set to checkpoint 3, but it shouldn't be
because we copied it from 2.
Right. So what
should go back to 2 though.
Yeah. So if you change next checkpoint to checkpoint 2.
And then we need to change 2 over here. With this, we need to change that to. No, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah. It was. I think it's just that.
We need to change the first one.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We need to change the first one so that it goes to 4.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. So that is 2 things we've done there. We did the new checkpoint and we did something else. Which escapes me.
We did the spawn timer.
That's it. What was the last thing we needed to do? This is why we
was
need to
to create a pathway from the end back to the start.
Okay, so we'll just do that with some voxels for now. Do you want to make a one-way path from the end to the start? However you like.
Let's see. Yeah, just for rough draft sake. And then we can extrude that up. and then also make sure that we can't go backwards, which we can at this height. So we'd want to change that.
Mm-hmm. So you might want to Control Z before like extruding any higher because it'll
Yep.
be the height.
Yeah, because then it will extrude the end as well.
Yeah. So if you like, I can try and jump it, and then so if you extrude it up, and then I'll try and jump up, and then you can choose to keep.
That should be high. Yeah, that should be more than high enough.
Oh, I'm in the water and
Okay.
I'm dead. Cool. Can we get to it from our endpoint? Yeah.
Should be able to.
One-way path.
Easy. Nice.
Okay. Should we test it?
Yeah.
Test it out. Made some changes. Does it still work? Let's have a look. You went straight to kill yourself. You tested that. Nice.
Yes.
Good
Yeah.
testing.
It still might be worth shortening that a bit, but it's definitely a lot better having it at 3 seconds over 8 seconds.
Yeah. Cool.
There we go.
Okay, so we've got an obstacle course.
Yes.
And it
and all the
works.
checkpoints work. Yeah.
And it gets slightly harder. The last jump is very difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but then you finished. So it's kind of...
And there's not a lot of extra obstacles between the last jump and the previous checkpoint. There's only a couple of fairly easy jumps.
Yeah, but we can make that harder, can't we?
Yeah.
We can either adjust those jumps, or that like sounds like a really good opportunity to put some death.
Yeah, some obstacles or something.
Yeah. Cool. How do you feel about the theme? I finally made it. 1 minute 16.
Hey, let's go.
Cool.
I like the theme because we can throw in, like you said, we can throw in sharks. We can have maybe some waves if we wanted to like animate some voxel meshes or something. There's the new Kraken tentacles as well with the Triskelions.
Yeah. And we're gonna, we're gonna work on our theme a little bit. To figure out like what we're running away from or what we're running away to, but I feel like it's a really good start. It's pretty basic, but we can now start to think about, all right, we've got a basic structure and it's doable, and we've got a game loop. We might want to move our scoreboard down so that we can see our score.
Yeah.
We might want to start decorating and start thinking of a why we're running, why are we running and all that kind of thing. But in the meantime, until you've written that narrative and you've got an idea about why we're running, and I think that's something that you can go away and do, and then we'll have another look next week. Why don't we just start like looking at some of the meshes that we've got at our disposal. So if we go into our meshes library, oh, you're moving the scoreboard. Oh, you've duplicated it. Oh, that's great. Nice.
Yeah, that way we have one at the end, but we also have one for people who are just coming into the race.
Yeah, cool. I think that will work. Just straight away. We might need to test that, because I don't know whether there's like a script that's specifically communicating to just one of these.
That's a good point, yeah.
When we finish the race, I think it calls a function in race user on the user. It updates the leaderboard, and then it throws out an updated leaderboard message. So actually it should work. Should we test it?
Yeah. Yeah, seems to be working, because this was the duplicated one.
Oh, there you go. Let's try finishing the race and see if they... I think they will both update, but I think they take a second or two to update.
Yeah, there's a bit of delay for updates.
Oh, I made it! First time! That is my best
Hey,
time.
awesome. So we'll get to see it update then, because I did not beat my best time.
Okay, so it might update, but it might take a minute or two. I've definitely got
Yeah.
the challenge, so... yeah. Let me just... If we just close it and then go back into it, you might find that it's...
Yeah, it might call it
There
automatically.
we
It
go.
did.
Yay!
It is updated.
Okay, cool. Sweet. So we've got leaderboard at the start. I like the way you've done the leaderboard at the start. It gives you an idea of like how difficult this thing's going to be. That's probably going to be the best time I'm ever going to get. So.
And then, speaking of the leaderboard, since we're already on this subject, how would one go about clearing the leaderboard? Such that if they had a time that isn't currently possible anymore because of some update or something. Unless you want to cover that later.
That's a great question.
Like in another stream.
If I increment display index, does that do it? It's a great question. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, that does it.
Okay.
So if we go in the World tab, is it the World tab? Game tab. Go in the Game tab on the right-hand side, and then scroll down to Leaderboards. And then if you open that arrow that's next to Best Time on Leaderboards.
Gotcha.
And then the Display Index is which leaderboard which display index we are. So you can do that. Or you can just increment this ID. So you can do best time 1, best time 2, best time 3, and it will generate a new leaderboard. I think there's another way of resetting it. And you can set a reset period so that it has like a certain amount of time before it resets, like weekly or whatever. But I think you can also reset it in create.crayta.com. You can go into the editor in there. But I just changed the display index, and that seems to have cleared it for now. Yeah. Cool. So there's a few different ways you can clear it. The next thing I think maybe we can start thinking about. So we've got our basic level layout, and this by no means you don't have to like completely stick to this. If you start adding meshes and you go, oh, actually this doesn't make sense, and I want to change this, then that's totally cool as long as you're testing your jumps as you go. The most important thing is we've got like a basic route. So when our next thing we need to do is possibly start. Let's elaborate on our obstacle course a little bit. So you said maybe we're pirates. It's a pirate theme. So just play around with some of the meshes and see like what might be cool. And don't worry too much about telling the story at the moment. Just like getting an idea of what you could do. So if you go to the mesh library, which is the second tab in the library, and then if you use the tags drop down to choose cursed galleons, that's a good starting point. So if you wanted to do some meshes, another thing you can do is, one thing I would probably do is start by setting all of our sand to rock, and then add sand on top of the rock. Does that make sense? So not necessarily all of our sand, but you know, some of it we could do. I'll give you an example. So this island over here that I'm looking at, if I look for some let's look for some barnacle rock and just fill this with barnacle rock rather than it being sand. And then because we've got quite hard edges here, I could also make them even harder by using the grow tool and the square, and just go round the edges, making it even harder so it's not quite circular, like this. Notice how the jump gap between the two, I'm keeping that at the level it was because I know I can make that, and I know that that's a fun jump. So I'm using the grow tool with square to grow it, because square gives us those hard edges, and then
Which you'd expect from rocks. That makes sense. Yeah.
and then I can come in as if I'm the sea or wind or weather with the erode tool and the sphere, and then just reduce the size of my cursor, and then just come in and maybe smooth some of these pointier bits out and give it like a bit of a feeling that there's been some weathering, like undercuts over here. There's some natural, because I've come in with a square thing, there's some natural like formations that have happened that I kind of like, and I want to keep like this like plinth thing here. That feels quite natural. And in fact, that's a really good basis for adding back some sand, because at that sort of height, we might get some sand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you've got, let's just put some bit of sand in here, bit of sand around there. Let's say like some sand collects on the top, so I'm just using the grow tool to add sand rather than coming in with like a paintbrush or something. I'm using the grow tool, and then I can also come in with a paintbrush as well. Just add a bit of sand on the top in the sort of area I might expect it. I don't know, just see, like, play around with that a little bit. So you can, yeah, what I was saying is you can use some of the meshes to add a bit of scenario, and you can use the voxel tools as well to start decorating some of these islands so that they're not just one material. They're, like nature, a multitude of different materials. You know, there could be some tropical plants on there, there could be rocks, there could be all sorts, a bit of sand, yeah, different types of rock. So yeah, I think just experiment and now a little bit. If you pick an island and just start theming that particular island, I'll pick one as well. I'll keep going with this one that I started with.
Okay.
And just start thinking about what that island might be. It might be land mass, sand and rocks, or it might be the bottom of a ship, or a crate, or a collection of crates. You know, you can kind of think about what it might be. Theme it a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to decorate our start point, and I feel like this is going to be mainly landmass. So I'm just going to grab some rock. Have you picked an island?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this second checkpoint one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the second checkpoint. Nice.
Yeah.
Let's extend this water out as well. So it feels, you know, like we're not just on a floating block of water. So I'm just using the extrude tool, going around, filling out this.
Yeah.
To add a lot more water. What are you doing?
I'm thinking about having sort of a little hill on the back, maybe some vegetation up there as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then having some overhang on this side.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, overhangs are always cool because it's like the waves have undercut it, so it signifies like choppy water as well, and like nature and that.
Bring up a bit. I might cut off this jump and kind of force people to go around this way instead of just going straight to the checkpoint from the longer jump.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I'm not for sure if that's what I'll go with, but
So
it's something that could be done.
Wait, you're gonna force people to go which way?
If I made this side that I'm looking at over here taller,
Mm-hmm.
I could force people over to these side islands and then go around, but they could still see the checkpoint island from back here.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're forcing people to go this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Definitely. It's quite like an organic way of approaching game design as well is like once you've got your basic blocks there, you've got your basic obstacle course, you can kind of then like, you know, prod it and mold it in different directions depending on how it's working out with the game flow, how it feels running from one thing to another. And the more you play it, the more you kind of find the essence of what it is. Because at the start, we were just, you know, drawing shapes that we were jumping from one to the next. But by the end, you kind of find this, like, you find the story sometimes just by making the game. Yeah, it could be a fun way to do it for sure. And Crayta's like probably, you know, quite a nice place for that, because if it was like a, you know, full game and you were changing your idea around the game level, that would mean like, you know, go change the idea of the game level, test it, go to the art department, ask them to, you know, make adjustments to the art to work with that part of the level, and so on and so on. And it can take a lot of time and money.
Yeah, definitely.
But with Crayta, we get to experiment pretty quickly with voxels.
Yeah, the iteration speed is a lot faster. Then if I go over to the brush again, we could add in some vegetation.
Ooh, lovely. What kind of vegetation are we talking?
Thinking some bushes and then maybe a tree up on the top.
Mm-hmm. What kind of tree would it be?
That's a good question. There's a lot of trees to pick from.
So you've gone for quite a tropical vibe. So maybe,
Yeah.
And we've got tropical water. Are we feeling like this is quite like a tropical style Pirates, Caribbean-esque?
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense with it being an island.
Cool. So when we're looking at the types of trees, we need to think about those kinds of trees. Like
Yeah,
tropical
we have palm trees.
and then that's like
We could also do like bananas.
that's like our where,
There's
isn't
a few
it?
different tree choices. Yeah.
Because when we talked about the theming, there's the what, why, where, when, who. And so you have to think about all of like the player's motivation, what's the character's motivation for being there, where is it, when is it, what are you running away from, or what are you running towards, why, and all that sort of stuff. So you can, you know, by you playing around with the meshes and the voxels, you can kind of start to figure out where it is and when it is, just by using the tools that you already have. But you might also want to really specify. Sometimes that can help, is really specifying exactly when, because that can lead you to research that era, and exactly where can help you research exactly that place in the world, the types of rock formations they have. Like there's a lot of difference between desert islands in like, I don't know, Southeast Asia versus desert islands in the Caribbean and Hawaii, like the different types of rock and the different types of vegetation in those different places.
Yeah, definitely.
So being very specific
The
can really help.
roughness of the water can change cliff faces as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like the geology, the different strength of different rocks. So some
Yeah,
rocks,
different types of rocks. Yeah.
yeah, and that also leads into, you know, the fauna and flora in that area. So that's probably like your homework, I would say, is to really investigate exactly where and exactly when this is, and what and why this person is running, or what are they running towards, what are they running away from, because that might also inspire some secondary mechanics like collecting treasure and things like that. Yeah, I think. Do you want to do some more of this level dressing and then maybe enter it into Feedback Friday?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah? After getting some
Iterate
feedback?
on this a bit more, and
Yeah?
then bring it in for feedback. Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. I think that'd be great. So, in case you're watching and you don't know what Feedback Friday is an hour or so on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, where anyone can put their game that they're working on in Crayta on the Crayta Discord, discord.gg/Crayta, put it in the Looking for Feedback channel, and on a Friday at 4 o'clock, a whole club of people get together and play all of those games and offer critiques and feedback in a friendly way. Don't worry.
All constructive.
Constructive feedback, good and bad. What's working? What could be improved? And then usually, you get a whole bunch of cool ideas for other mechanics and other things that you might want to consider adding to your game. It's a pretty creative community, so get some cool ideas from that. So yeah, that's something we'll look at doing with this, either this week or the following week, depending on how it goes.